Let's go to question 6. 4 grams of calcium carbonate is reacted with hydrochloric acid as shown in the equation below. So you have to balance the equation. So basically just balance 2. Okay, if over here, if 1, you can write 1, but it's better not to write anything. Just write like this. So all these are balanced ready. So don't write anything. Because for chemistry, if it is 1, we don't write. Find the relative molecular mass of calcium carbonate. Now, relative molecular mass of calcium carbonate basically is you have to know the formula for calcium carbonate, CaCO3, and then just add up the Ar. Okay, so it would be calcium, it's 40, carbon is 12, oxygen is 16, and then times 3 because there are 3 oxygen, that would be 100. Okay, find the number of moles of calcium carbonate used. Now, the question say how many gram of calcium carbonate used? 4 gram. Alright, so in order to find out the number of mole is mass divided by the MR. And mass is how much? 4 gram. MR is how much? 100. That will be 0.04 mole. And that would be the answer. 0.04 mole. Now, what volume of 1 mole per dm cube of hydrochloric acid is needed to react completely with calcium carbonate? Now, this is a typical mole concept question. So, mole concept question, when you want to do the calculation, you have to identify 2 chemicals. Okay? Identify 2 chemicals. So, the chemicals here is HCl and CaCO3. So, write down HCl and CaCO3. Then you have to find out what is the mole ratio of HCl and CaCO3. How do you find the mole ratio? It is from the balanced chemical equation. So the balanced chemical equation, you can see that 2 mole, 1 mole. So the mole ratio is 2:1. 2:1. Now the question is, this is the mole ratio based on the balanced chemical equation. How about in the reaction or in the experiment or in the question? In the question, is it 1 mole of CaCO3 being used? It is not. It is only 0.04 mole of CaCO3. So in the question, only 0.04 mole of CaCO3 being used. So based on the mole ratio of 1:2, so 0.04, that would be times 2. Okay, because this number go to this number is times 2. So this number go to this number must be times 2, which is 0.08. So this calculation here is better to write down the working. So you can write number of mole of HCl is 0.04 times 2, which is 0.08 mole. So now we know that we need 0.08 mole of HCl. But the question wants volume. See, what volume of 1 mole per dm cube? So 1 mole per dm cube, what is the meaning? It means 1 dm cube, 1 mole. Now is 0.08 mole. So you need how many dm cube? Again, this is just proportionality question. So you need 0.08 dm cube. So therefore, the volume needed is volume needed is 0.08 dm cube. That would be the answer. Okay? So every time just use the ratio, proportionality, direct proportionality. So just a recap, identify the 2 chemicals, look at the balanced chemical equation in order to find out the mole ratio. Then after that, in the question, what would be the mole being used? And then from the mole being used, find out the mole of HCl needed. Alright, and this part is better to show the working. Then after that, from the concentration, what is the meaning of this 1 mole per dm cube? Basically, it means 1 mole in 1 dm cube, or in 1 dm cube 1 mole. Then now is not 1 mole of HCl. Now is 0.08 mole of HCl. Therefore, you need 0.08 dm cube of the HCl. So the volume needed is 0.08 dm cube. Okay, carbon monoxide detectors can be used in the home. Okay, carbon monoxide detector. The orange spot turns black if there is a high concentration of carbon monoxide in the air. Why is carbon monoxide hazardous? So you have to say that it is a colorless and odorless gas, and then it will combine with a hemoglobin in the red blood cell. Hence, it will deprive of other body cells of oxygen. Okay, so that is why is carbon monoxide hazardous. It's in the air and atmosphere, mind map. Now let's go to B. The spot turns black when palladium 2 chloride reacts with carbon monoxide to form palladium metal. Okay, what is this thing? I also don't know, but you don't need to know that. Okay, complete the table below to show the oxidation states of palladium and carbon before and after the reaction takes place. Oxidation state. Now remember, oxidation state, charge is like 2 plus, 1 plus, or 3 plus. Oxidation state is the other way around. The plus comes first. So oxidation state before the reaction for palladium. Before the reaction, that means on the left hand side of the arrow, this one. So in order to find out the oxidation state for palladium in palladium 2 chloride, you need to know this chloride ion. Chloride ion is Cl minus, which means that, but there are two of them. So it will be 2 minus, which means that your PD must be 2 plus. Okay? So the oxidation state will be plus 2. Anyway, the name of the compound, palladium 2 chloride, actually told you that the charge for palladium is 2 plus because there is a 2 here. Okay, so when the charge is 2 plus, the oxidation state is plus 2. So this one should be plus 2. How about oxidation state after the reaction? After the reaction, this palladium will become a palladium element. So for element, the oxidation state must be 0. So plus 2 to 0. Alright? Plus 2 to 0. How about carbon before the reaction? Carbon before the reaction is in carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide, oxygen must be O2 negative, which means that your carbon must be 2 plus. Carbon 2 plus, the oxidation state is plus 2. How about after the reaction? Carbon monoxide become carbon dioxide. So oxygen again 2 negative, but there are 2 oxygen, so it's 4 negative, which means that your carbon must be 4 plus to balance out the charges. So it is a plus 4. Now use the information from the table to explain why this is a redox reaction. Why this is a redox reaction? How do you explain? So you have to know the definition for redox reaction. Redox reaction, the definition is both oxidation and reductions happen in the same chemical reaction. But this one you have to explain further. So you have to explain that. So first sentence should be oxidation and reduction happen in the same chemical reaction. Then you have to say that palladium is reduced and carbon is oxidized. So palladium is reduced and carbon is oxidized. Okay, so that would be the 2 sentences. Name one industrial process that uses carbon monoxide as a reducing agent. So it will be based on whatever that you have learned about carbon monoxide. So you learned, you study that carbon monoxide is used in a blast furnace. So blast furnace, carbon monoxide is used to extract the iron or to reduce the iron ore to iron. Okay, extraction of iron from iron ore in the blast furnace, or reduction of iron ore in the blast furnace. Okay, based on the answer scheme given. Okay, that would be for number 7. Okay, let's look at number 8. The experiment below shows the reaction between halogen and iron. Halogen means group 7 elements like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, acetylene, and iron. So the observations of the observations of the experiment are shown in the table below. X, Y, Z. Okay, glows less brightly, burns brightly and vigorously, glows brightly and less vigorously. So arrange the halogen in order of increasing reactivity. So it depends on the intensity of the reaction. So which one is the most intense? That would be Y. Burns brightly. This one would be the second one. This one would be the least intense. So the halogen, in order of increasing reactivity, meaning that from the least reactive to the most reactive, meaning that from the least intense to the most intense, least intense, most intense, X, Z, and Y. Now brown solids are halides of iron 2. Now even though you know that iron 2, the color is green, right, based on your QA, but over here it says brown, so just follow the question. What is the chemical formula of this brown solid when Y reacts with iron? Well, they told you already, halides of iron 2, it is brown, meaning that all this is iron 2. Okay, so the chemical formula of this brown solid, Y. So which means that iron 2 and then Y. What is Y? What is the charge for Y? It is a halogen. So halogen, all of them would form an ion with negative charge, 1 negative. Okay, so just like that, and then you cross multiply. Anyway, it's an ionic compound because iron is a metal and Y is a non-metal. So that would give you FeY2. So the answer is FeY2. Halogen Z is a liquid at room temperature. See, liquid at room temperature. You know that if you learn your periodic table chapter properly, you would know that for halogen, you have fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, acetylene. It is solid, solid, liquid. Sorry, the other way around. Gas, gas, liquid, solid, solid. Okay, one more time. Gas, gas, liquid, solid, solid. Those are their states at room temperature and pressure. Now, halogen Z is a liquid. This is the only one. So this one must be Z. Bromine is Z. Identify Z using the periodic table. That means it's bromine. Now, hence by using the identity in C, use the identity in C. That means in your balanced chemical equation, you should not write Z, because you have to use the identity in C. And C, we know that the identity of Z is bromine. Okay, by using the identity in C, write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction between Z, which is bromine. Bromine, remember, it's not Br, it's Br2, because at room temperature and pressure, all halogen exists as diatomic. So Br2 plus Al, and you will get aluminium bromide. But what would be the formula for aluminium bromide? Aluminium is 3 plus, bromine is minus. So that would be Al Br3. Now, how do you know it's aluminium bromide and it's not something else? Because the second part of the question actually told you that now they actually told you that halides of iron are. That means you have a metal here and then a halogen here. Basically, they'll just combine like that. So if you have a metal like aluminium here, and then you have a bromine, they'll just combine. Okay, I know we have never learned this equation, this reaction, but based on the information given in the question, we can deduce that whenever a metal react with halogen, they will just combine like this to form an ionic compound. Okay, next question. This is like a job question. What caused the haze that affected most parts of West Malaysia? That will be forest fire, because over here is mentioned forest fire. State the effect of the haze on transportation. Because of the navigation, because of the visibility will be reduced. See, visibility had fallen, and that would affect the navigation of in the sea and in the air. So all this question is really like a job question. What do you think is the reason why farmers burn the forest? Because they want to clear land, or they want to make their land, make the soil more fertile. So there could be two reasons. Okay, burn the forest to clear land, and also to make the soil more fertile. Okay, next question. HCl plus copper 2 hydroxide. So HCl is an acid, copper 2 hydroxide is a base, acid base. You get a salt, you get water. So this one must be the salt. And this salt must have copper 2 inside. So it should be copper 2 chloride. So write the chemical formula, there will be copper 2 chloride. How about Q? HCl plus colorless solution Q, you get a white PBT. This HCl, what are the things inside? What are the ions inside HCl? You have H plus, you have Cl minus. Plus a colorless solution Q, you get a white PBT. So you have to think of whether, that means what kind of compound that has chloride inside will give a white PBT. So based on the QA, this compound is silver chloride. You can see chloride, white PBT, silver chloride. Okay, so silver chloride is a white PBT, meaning that this white PBT is very likely to be silver chloride, which means that this colorless solution, there must be silver something, silver inside. But silver what thing is a solution? That means it is soluble. Silver nitrate. Silver nitrate is soluble. It cannot be silver sulfate, because silver sulfate is not soluble. Okay, so this one is silver nitrate. How about here? HCl plus potassium carbonate. So this reaction is acid and carbonate. Acid and carbonate, you get salt, water, and carbon dioxide. So your gas X must be carbon dioxide, and then your R must be a salt, and this salt must be potassium chloride, KCl. Okay, now go back to this Q. HCl, you know that it has hydrogen ion, it has chloride ion. You get a white PBT. So this white PBT must have one of this. Must have one of this. So you try to recall any compound that contains chloride that is not soluble. It's white color and it is not soluble. So it is silver chloride. Likewise, you can think of any compound that contains hydrogen that is not soluble and is white. You can't think of any. That is why this white PBT must be silver chloride. And when this one is silver chloride, this one must be silver something. And the silver something must be soluble. Colorless solution, it must be soluble. So it's silver nitrate. Because all nitrate is soluble. Alright, that would conclude 2013 mid-year paper, paper 3, section A.